Steve, congratulations to you.
Thank you, Stu. Been a long time.
It has. Well, and you've been working toward this for a long time.
Not purposely.
Not purposely.
No.
You didn't campaign for this, I'm sure.
No.
But it's everything that's in your resume was headed toward this.
And you were part of the very first part of that resume. I think we went on one of the leaders to Washington. You led that group in the late 90s. I think Holly was part of that group. And here we are 30 years later almost, and it's been a fun ride.
That's right. Well, I remember the first time I was really, frequently in contact with you. I was working for Illinois Farm Bureau, and you were on the grits team.
Yes.
And I thought, he's got a little bit more on the ball than a lot of folks do, and it's been that way. You have risen up the top. You've spent a lot of years, the last few, leadership in Illinois Soybean Association. Now you're on the United Soybean Board, and
Yes.
You just keep going.
It's. I've never set out to really do any of these things, but when asked if I would do it, I've hesitated a bit and then stepped up and done them and tried to do the best job that I could at that, whatever it was. Excuse me.
Now, going back a few years, where did you first get your foot in farming?
So way back in my teenage years, I got started in 4-H, FFA. I actually competed against Phil Nelson in extemporaneous speaking in 1974, 75. He beat me, but there was only two of us. So that was kind of the start of my leadership, if you will.
Okay.
My farming operation started as a 4-H and FFA project in 1974. For some reason, I came across the record book from then, and it was quite interesting. The yields, the price of pigs, price of corn and soybeans at the time. But started farming at that point, and have just grown ever since.
And you were still in a young stage when the 80s came along. Did that make you think, what am I really doing here?
It was different for me because I was just getting started farming. I didn't know all the bad things. I saw them. My dad experienced them because he was a run and gunner of the 70s. So he got caught up in it, ended up losing a couple farms over that time of the 80s, 21% interest, and it was just a challenging time. But it kept me being cheap, if you will, not splurging, just being very focused on the financials because of what I saw happen and being in those trenches, and has made for a building of a good operation over the years.
What did you learn at that point that you have applied in future years and you still make sure I need to keep applying this?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the seeds of despair are sown in the best of times. So we make commitments when times are really good, because this happens about once or twice every decade. We have a really good time in farming, and we'll go out and make commitments for the next 5 to 7 years, you could say. And the first year may not be too bad, and then by the 5th or 6th year, those are pretty challenging to make those payments on those commitments because things have changed. And trying not to get caught up in the good times, knowing that bad times are not that far away. I've heard too many times that we're at a new plateau, and we are for about 18 months. And then as farmers, we go out and bury the market, overproduce, and then we live with that until the next crisis comes along to get us out, and then we regroup again. A lot of times we average up our machinery fleet. For a 2012 average fleet age, we'll move up to a 2018 or whatever it is, just move up in the scheme of things. So just trying to keep cost of production low and commitments low has been the key.
Anything out there that I've been there, I've done that, not going to do it again?
I don't think there's anything specific. I would say there's a lot of things in technology. There's a lot of people that are coming at us with some new whatever it is that's going to save us. It's been on the ag tech side, it's been in the digital ag side, and now it seems like the biological space is the new digital age space. There are some products that work. Just as in the digital age, there were some products that worked really nice, but everything doesn't work everywhere, and you really need to focus on what your weakness is within your farm, and can you fix something for yourself. It doesn't apply everywhere, but on my farm, whatever it is, I've been able to add those things that made my operation better.
Give me an example of that. What have you, of what you speak?
Yeah, so I look at like the adoption of auto steer in our operation. Okay, that was 20 years ago.
Right.
But that was adopted because there was there's really no ROI that caused us to adopt that. It was a quality of life. I could do other things while the tractor was driving itself. So we adopted that very quickly. I think one of the things that came out of that time was Twitter, social media came out about the same time auto steer did. I'm not sure which one came first. We needed auto steer so that we could tweet, but we needed Twitter so that we had something to do while auto steer was happening. So it was an interesting time. But yeah, just looking at that adoption of section control, things like that, you could put math to it, and stop the overlap. Yes, I want this. This fixes a problem. We save 2% of seed. We can pay for this in the years to come. The next thing I think is coming is See and Spray. The See and Spray technology. I'm looking at it from both a savings in herbicide cost, but I think there's a potential of yield increase by not having that plant have to metabolize off that chemical. So if we can keep that plant from having a setback from the chemical for a week, we can keep it growing. We can actually see some yield enhancements. I'm not sure of that, but that's the theory. We'll be testing that over the next couple of years. So just, what is a problem in my operation? For a while, I did some consulting for ag tech startup companies, and one of the clues that I gave them, or hints, I said, come ride with me. And when I say a naughty word, if you can build something to fix that, I'll buy it. Okay. As opposed to building something that your company may be just building without a known outcome.
Right.
So that's worked well for us.
What's the next thing that you are thinking about getting or a practice that you could adopt to just take your operation to the next step?
Yeah, I think every year we look at the operation at the end of the year and try to figure out what was a challenge, and then we try to fix that. This autonomy thing is coming at us. It's coming, but I don't think it solves a problem for me. What we have done is gone to much more minimum tillage so that we don't need to have as many people in the operation. We've got much better planters today than we had 10 or 15 years ago. We can lay that seed in at just the precise depth that we want, clean the ahead of the furrow, clean that up. So we've gone away from a lot of the extensive tillage, which requires manpower and investment. So we've gotten away from that. We've not seen any depression in yields. Our yields are staying right in there. So we're just going to continue on that path. I don't see anything else really other than See and Spray stuff that we'll be adopting to make any major changes.
Okay. Put yourself in front of a VOAG class. Blue jackets in the room, kids that are going to be farming. What sort of lessons would you teach them?
Find a niche. Find something that you can do better than everybody else, whatever that is. Something I did to help me get started in farming was to do some off-farm income as a way to supplement the farm. You can't do too much because you still have to be focused on the farm. But in the mid-'80s, I had a video store. That was before Blockbuster. We rented out VHS videos. I don't know if you remember that. It was a thing.
I could still have a
But it
box
was a
of those
really
at home.
good lesson in business for me. Because as a farmer, I take the price that I get, whatever the market is giving to me. But I can dump that truck any day and get money. When you're in retail business, you can set your price, but you've got to convince people to come in that door and then come in that door again and again. And it's a really good lesson for farmers to see the difference in business. And my kids are all involved. I have side hustles, doing different things. My daughter has a beef tallow, cosmetics-based business. My daughter-in-law does a furniture refinishing, and then got a herd of cattle. My son has son-in-law has a whole store. We've got 400 chickens, raising farm fresh eggs, offering milk, just a full store of home farm-raised stuff. So various, diversify yourself. Stay busy every day.
Now, do you let them manage that? Do you
Yeah.
do you have input into any of their?
I do not. I may be the 30,000-foot level guy, but they need to learn. If I tell them what to do, they won't learn. But if they trip, they learn. It's no different than raising kids or grandkids. Sometimes you just gotta sit back and let them fail.
It's kind of, some of that kind of sounds like what you might be saying to the group when you make your little speech today.
Could be. That's still developing.
Steve, congratulations to you.
Thank you, Stu. It's been a pleasure to know you and work with you.
I've been honored to work with you as well.
30 years.
Thank you, sir.